It is July 28th, 2025, and Trump says he's never been to the island. Plus, we have reports about what Ghislaine Maxwell said to the DOJ, possibly listing 100 names. This is Inverted World Live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Inverted World Live. I'm your host, Shane Cashman, and we are glad you're here. Hope you had a great weekend. This is a call-in show, and our phone lines will be open to you in about 30 minutes. We'll be here till midnight. If you've had a strange encounter, something you can't explain, you give us a call. The link to call in will be pinned to the chats in Rumble and YouTube, and we want to hear from you. If you had thoughts on something we've talked about, we have a guest. We're going to talk about some things first. If you have any thoughts on that situation, you are welcome to call in. But if you have a thought on anything about the strange, the unexplained, we've talked about all sorts of paranormal encounters, from missing time to cryptids to Bigfoot once being hit by a car in California. We want to hear about it, and we're looking forward to talking to you guys. And I am joined by my co-host and producer, Brandon. What's up?
What's up, Shane? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It was a crazy, weird weekend, and we're going to dive right into it. Let's go.
That's right. So we have reports of Ghislaine Maxwell talking to the DOJ. And before we get to our guests, I'm just going to read a little bit from this article. I'm sure you guys have seen it. This is kind of breaking over the weekend, but a little refresher. This is from CBS News. Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer says DOJ asked her about roughly 100 different people on second day of interview. So there's 2 days of interviewing. Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer said the former partner of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein answered every single question during the 2 days she met with Todd Blanche, a top Justice Department official. Now, you know what I appreciate about that first paragraph? They did not use disgraced financier. They actually said convicted sex offender.
It's about time.
They could have gone, a little more with it, like we could just call him a pedophile. But, convicted sex offender is a step in the right direction.
Progress.
I'm so tired of hearing disgraced financier, like it's a synonym for human trafficking, child trafficking, pedophile, demon. She was asked maybe about 100 different people. She answered questions about everybody, and she didn't hold anything back, Maxwell's attorney, David Oscar Marcus, said Friday. They asked about every possible thing you could imagine, everything, he said. I hope that's the case. Maxwell, who was serving a 20-year prison sentence for her role in helping Epstein recruit, groom, and abuse underage girls, met Thursday and Friday with Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tallahassee. Blanche said Thursday the Justice Department would share more about what the government learned in those meetings at the appropriate time. I pray to God it's not through binders. The Trump administration has struggled to deal with the backlash over its handling of Epstein's case after several officials, including President Trump, spent years pressing for the release of more details. But a recent Justice Department review concluded Epstein did not have a client list and confirmed he died by suicide in 2019 in jail shortly after he was indicted on federal sex trafficking charges. You guys know how we feel about that in this room. The conclusions have angered those who have pushed claims that the files have been concealed to protect Epstein's alleged list of prominent clients. Mr. Trump has tried to distance himself from Epstein, who was once a friend, and has called the controversy a hoax. On Friday, Mr. Trump said he had not considered a pardon for Maxwell. It's something I have thought about, he told reporters before leaving for Scotland. I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about. I am against pardoning sex offenders, but I understand that she is a source of information that we should most certainly be talking to. And like Brandon and I said on Thursday, I wish these things were recorded for us to see, because her body language, the way she answers these questions, is very important. Because I'm skeptical of her. Maxwell's lawyer said they haven't asked for anything from the administration in return for her testimony, but they would welcome any relief, in quotes, any relief. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet, he said. The president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way. Maxwell was subpoenaed this week by the House Oversight Committee, which wants her to testify next month. Marcus said they hadn't made a decision about whether to agree to questioning. I would love to see someone like that get questioned. I want us all to be able to watch it. And there's so many people involved with this case that I want to see questioned. And we're going to get into those people and the whole Epstein saga for about 30 or so minutes with our next guest before we get to callers. I have Brad Binkley, comedian and host of the Propaganda Report. Good guy. We did some comedy in Florida recently with the great Sam Tripoli, and he's done some really good reporting on all this wild stuff. So let's bring on Brad, because he's got some crazy stuff to tell us. Brad. What is
What's
up,
up,
sir?
guys?
Hey, man, I'm glad you're here. When we first met down in Florida at the at Bohemian Grove, we got into it about Epstein and all these different things. And here we are a few weeks later, and now we're hearing Ghislaine Maxwell's talking. How do you feel about this meeting? How do you feel about Ghislaine giving answers you can trust?
I totally trust a captured Israeli spy to tell the truth.
Yeah.
She has no incentive to deceive anybody. Perfectly normal for a woman who, when she was deposed back in 2015 or 16 during a case that Bradley Edwards brought for the victims of Epstein, where he subpoenaed all of these elites, and Maxwell said she couldn't be deposed because she was going out of the country and would never be back. She's taking care of her mother. 2 months later, she shows up in a photo at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. So I totally trust her.
Yeah, I think she's totally trustworthy. You mentioned the Israeli connection. Some people might be like, well, that's a stretch. I look at it as in terms of her lineage, Robert Maxwell, clearly an asset for Mossad. I don't know if he's actually Mossad, but an asset for Mossad, caught up in the Promise scandal. We talked about it on this show a bunch. You know, is that what you're looking at when you're calling her an Israeli asset or Mossad?
I do. I see the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Her dad was given funeral, an Israeli funeral. He's not Israeli. There was a bunch of Mossad agents there. It's kind of weird.
It's very weird. And he also died mysteriously after the scandal.
Yeah, fell off a boat.
So we don't trust. I'm very skeptical of what she says. I do want to hear what she has to say. What is your take on these 100 names?
Yeah, I would love to see who the 100 names are. I would love to see her testify. It would fit with the theater that we're seeing today. I don't know. I imagine she would have given some that could be somewhat corroborated, but it's also the context of what are the 100 names?
Right.
Are they people he's been associated with? Are they people on the island? It's just going to depend what the specifics of them are.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm very anxious to hear what they're going to even show us, because this whole release of the Epstein saga has been so mismanaged by this administration, by everyone. It's like they're trying to force a Mandela effect on us.
Dude.
Right?
Yes. Where Epstein, we all thought he was a bad guy. He's just a great philanthropist.
Right. Yeah, he's a disgraced financier, you see, according to all the major media. But like everyone who's front-facing in this administration, going on podcasts or Fox, has a different sort of gaslight when it comes to the story. It's so maddening. But we, for those of us who followed the story for years, I know you have, what do you think are the names involved that we should be caring about?
I start with the 5 names who appear in what I think is the most important Jeffrey Epstein document that is available, not through a regular Google search, but if you can find it on Pacer, and it does cost a little bit of money to use Pacer, but it's the plea letter that was written by Dershowitz in 2007, and then the deal was signed shortly after. It is the letter that got Epstein that deal, and there are a bunch of people referenced, but only 5 specific names mentioned in that letter. One of them is Bill Clinton, but the other 4 are a guy named Martin Novak, who is a Harvard professor, who Epstein funded his entire career, basically, and then a guy named Lawrence Cross, who was kind of the leader of the Trust to Science movement out of the Origin Project over at ASU, also funded by Jeffrey Epstein. Most of his career, he had... what's the guy, the scientist who he talks like this? He had him down at the island in a meeting that he organized back in 2002. And then a guy named Roger Schnack, who created AI training simulations for the DOD, who works for DARPA. All of these guys worked for government who are named here. They all helped Epstein get off of the deal. Epstein funded all of them, as it says in this document. I can show you guys the document if you guys want me to pull it up. And then finally, the one guy who's never been questioned about his associations, who still is, in my opinion, the chief brainwasher for the United States government, has been since the 60s. He's worked with him, is a guy named Martin Seligman, who is the head of the UPenn Positive Psychology Center.
Okay, I want to get to Martin first with all this stuff, but before that, you're talking about the deal. I think you're talking about the sweetheart deal, the prison deal, right?
Sweetheart deal.
Can you remind people what that was?
That was the deal back. It was finalized in 2008, where Epstein was facing potentially life in prison for sex trafficking and for sex with minors. That the Jim Acosta at the time, who was the federal attorney down in the Southern District of Florida, made a deal with Epstein's attorneys for 13 months, basically on he could get to stay at home with an ankle brace on. And it's like widely viewed as one of the most corrupt deals that's ever been made.
Oh, yeah. And maybe you can refresh everyone's memory of what did Acosta say about Epstein in terms of
He said he's above his pay grade.
Yeah.
He's intelligence.
He's intelligence.
Yes.
Very, very interesting. That deal with the prison, it should disgust everybody. For everyone who's had the justice system crush their throat to see someone like this pedophile demon get this little vacation and still able to travel around the world while serving time. It's disgusting. So Martin Seligman, that's a name I don't think a lot of people hear a lot.
Right.
Tell us about that guy.
So Martin Seligman goes way back. He's worked with the CIA, he's worked with the DOD, and he did research at the University of Penn back in the late 60s, around the time when it was revealed that there was MK Ultra research going on over there at UPenn. And he pioneered the theory of learned helplessness, and he did so by torturing dogs. And that theory was actually something that inspired the writing of Ted Kaczynski's manifesto. According to Ted Kaczynski himself, he called the American public the dogs in Seligman's experiments. And he was also inspired somebody named Anthony Kidman, who died mysteriously while going to see one of his daughters. I can't remember which country it was, but that's Nicole Kidman's father, who was also a research scientist. And he wrote the foreword to one of Seligman's books. And he was being accused at the time of his death of doing the same type of experiments as Seligman, except on children over there. And who knows why he really died. But fast forward to 2001. Seligman's learned helplessness theory was used as the basis of the Black Ops CIA torture program after 9/11.
Oh,
he had a meeting with CIA agents, and according to Seligman himself, there was a guy from Israel there. He didn't say he was Mossad from the quote that I read, but just a guy from Israel at the meeting where he taught them about the learned helplessness theory. And that became the basis of that. And there's this strange through line of him working with the DOD, working with the CIA. He was an advisor to some administrations in the DOD, as were all of these guys who were mentioned in this document. They all worked for the government, and Epstein also funded their work. And in 2003, according to this plea letter, Epstein funded the Positive Psychology Center at the University of Pennsylvania that Seligman would then become the head of. Now, this Positive Psychology Center, a couple years after, actually a year after Epstein got that deal, received a $30 million no-bid contract to conduct experimentation on the Army. And this was viewed at the time to be against the Nuremberg, the Nuremberg Accords.
Of course.
And he was training them to be able to go into war without feeling any resistance to killing. It was the way, if you read through his trainings, is basically it's good and positive, and it's virtuous to follow the commands of your leaders, and it is bad and negative and immoral to not follow their commands. And the whole idea was to be able to redeploy soldiers to go and kill without hesitation. It's awful, and they still use it to this day. And right now, they're modeling an AI program off of they're trying to develop a new like thing where you can still ask somebody questions about stuff after they die and get the benefit of their knowledge after they're long gone and dead.
Right.
But they're also conducting a project over at UPenn that's called, find the name of that thing there. It's like the World Happiness Project is what it's called.
Oh, sounds nice.
Yeah, they used to call him Dr. Happy in the military. It's
Of
very
course.
Orwellian.
Of course.
But what this thing is doing is they're pioneering techniques for measuring psychological well-being based on language on social media. And this is DOJ funded right now. And they're creating psychological resiliency profiles. And the idea is that the more psychologically resilient you are, that's the more that you can form.
Do you know how they're doing it?
I don't know the details of how they're they're gathering like statements from social media and reactions and stuff around the world, and that's about the extent of I know of their methods of this current project.
It sounds like something they love doing. This is, I mean, MK Ultra. This is a long history of it, and this idea of eradicating the trauma of murder and war crimes sounds horrendous, but it's part of the whole super soldier idea that was pretty much part of MK Ultra from the beginning. So that's Martin Seligman went into with MK Ultra, then we get to learned helplessness, and Epstein was a part of that. And so Martin Seligman's on that plea letter, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then Harvard is another very interesting aspect to the Epstein story.
By the way, he's never been asked about his relationship, ever. Never been asked about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, this Martin Seligman guy.
So, like Lex Wessner.
Yeah.
How do they get away with it? These are the people I like to see, testify, because it's a lot of money and a lot of power.
Absolutely.
So the Harvard person, was that Martin Novak?
Yep.
What's Martin's deal with Epstein?
So this guy Epstein called his favorite scientist. That's what, and he funded his career from from the 90s to 2018. He took money from Epstein both before and after, and he advocated for Epstein afterwards because he was his source of research, and he created what was called the Program for Evolutionary Dynamics (PED). Some people make a reference there.
Of course, jeez.
Yeah, and he had his own office there, and it's very clear when you look into it. And this is all from a Harvard. Their lawyer and their vice president, they published a report on this, on Epstein's associations with the university in 2020. And all of this stuff was revealed. And the guy was suspended, but he is back teaching there. But basically what he researched, his main focus is compliance. Is like he believes that evolution for all species depends upon cooperation. And therefore, for the human species to evolve, there must maximize cooperation and minimize what he called defectors. And so he conducted all these experiments where they would try these different prisoner dilemma game situations and these different strategies for getting people to comply. And if you want to know, I don't know if you saw the video from O'Keefe about the Epstein chalkboard inside of his house. I
saw a clips of that, yeah.
All of people trying to figure out what those words mean, it all is a direct relation to Nowak's theories on gaining cooperation from people and minimizing people who dissent and ask questions. It's pretty crazy. And all four of these guys are part of the EDGE organization, which is this elite billionaire. He used to have these billionaire dinners, world dominator dinners, they would call them. And they would talk about this stuff. How do we control the population? And Novak, it's W, but I think he's German.
Right.
He is one of the guys, it probably won't surprise you, who made recommendations on how to coerce people into taking the vaccine during COVID.
Great. So these people, they just want what's best for us. Clearly, they have great friends.
Yeah,
Do you think these people are victims or co-conspirators of blackmail? Victims is the wrong word, but do you think they were involved in these heinous crimes, or is it just they needed funding? Like, what's your feeling with these people?
I don't know one way or another. I know that a couple of them on this document organized things on Epstein's Island. I know that they did experiments like Nowak. Some of his experiments involved compliance gaining from children because they were trying to see what is the mechanism in the brain that, like, It's crazy because like Nowak helped Epstein get the visiting fellow into the visiting fellow program at Harvard as a 52-year-old man,
Right.
mind you,
Yeah.
a program that is designed for Harvard graduate students to do independent research. They got Epstein in to do research that he describes as basically, I want to find the underpinnings of power, and I want to find the diverse use of manipulation, deception tactics to gain it.
Yeah.
This guy helped him get. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, Epstein's connections to Harvard are insane, right?
Yeah,
Because like
wild.
he, I mentioned Larry Summers. Larry Summers was the president of Harvard for 5 years, I think 2001, 2006. Larry Summers got funding from Epstein for his wife's poetry videos. You know, I believe Epstein had an office at Harvard. Like, what?
He had an office, totally, and he was able to use it. So this guy Novak, he kept taking money from Epstein after he got out the first time, but he hid where the donations came from, and he allowed Epstein to keep using that office, but he kept it a secret. It was very clear reading the Harvard document who was in charge, and it was not the Harvard professor Novak. It was Epstein. And the same thing is true at ASU. And when you look at all the other people he funded, it is a bunch of people whose career seemed to be depending on the money Epstein is giving them, and they are following his orders. And Epstein is just bringing around 20-year-old girls and like making out with them in front of all of these people at these meetings. It's wild.
Do you think that the Harvard connection, the university connection, the science obsession with Epstein, am I wrong in thinking it's not a coincidence that Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who had Pergamon Press, like, are those connected to you at all? The way Robert Maxwell had Pergamon Press, did the university textbooks, was obsessed with science, so far as I can tell, and Epstein as well?
I think it's 100% connected, and I think you can take it all the way back to Edward Bernays, who this would be his wet dream.
Literally. People should go look into Edward Bernays and the way he wanted to control minds. It's fascinating and terrifying. So let's do Dershowitz before we get out of here, because Dershowitz I find to be quite scummy, to put it lightly. This guy defended Epstein, and I understand everyone should have an attorney, but I mean, this guy's just got a super shady past. But he defended Epstein for when he got the plea deal, the sweetheart deal in Florida. Right. Dershowitz has been weird lately, saying he saw a client list, then there was nothing. I don't know. Do you feel like Dershowitz or any of these people are going to be the names that we get, or are we going to get blindsided by something completely made up?
I doubt Dershowitz will be on it personally. I feel like he's probably too tied into it.
It's too unknown.
If I had to predict, my guess is we'll probably see a lot of people who are already dead.
Yeah.
Like maybe Roger Schnack, whose name is on this.
Yeah.
Like I could see him being mentioned because he's already dead. Like there's the theory that Trump is going to get a deal with her, and let her out, and if he gets the right names, it probably won't be people associated with Trump world. I personally don't think there's going to be a deal that happens. I don't think we're going to see any names, but I don't believe we're ever going to get anything of consequence.
Yeah. Would you trust the files if they put them out tomorrow?
No, absolutely not. I see zero reason to believe we're ever going to get the files, especially when the real ones, especially when you have somebody like Martin Seligman, who is right now doing DOJ funded research at UPenn connected to MK Ultra, that if you expose the Epstein's ties to all these people, then you expose the government's ties to all of these people, and it could kind of bring down the whole system. So I think they're too deeply entangled. Yeah,
I agree. That's why I think this story is so important, because, if Trump's campaigning on, he had Agenda 47, obliterating the deep state, Epstein, this whole situation, that's a deep state crime. That is 100, right? So it's like, we have to take care of this, expose it. And I don't think Epstein's the only one. I think this is just one of many, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. And I'll say this about Seligman again. I forgot to mention this earlier. They have these rankings about influence in science. He is currently viewed among the elites as the #1 most influential psychologist on the planet.
Oh wow, that's crazy. This is a name that I only knew through you. That's fascinating. Brandon, you were going to say something?
Yeah. You guys think releasing these names is going to serve as, kind of a decent exchange offer for the list that we were promised, or, we're just going to create more public outcry for more information? I mean, does the public deserve to see these names in the first place?
I want to see whatever they have, but I just have no faith in those names. What do you think, Brad?
I agree. I think the trust level is so broken.
Yeah.
That even if it shows, unless it shows one of the guys is dead, so it could show his associates, but unless it shows one of these 4 guys, especially Seligman, then I don't trust it.
You know what? Something that is not talked about enough. Maybe you know about it, but the whole Karina Shuliak part of the story. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Karina Shuliak was the person Epstein called the night he died. He had an unmonitored phone call from prison. He told them he was calling his mom. And through the records, they said it's Karina Shuliak, who was his girlfriend at the time. And it's just a bizarre thing that I don't know why no one talks about where is she?
Yeah,
what did she get told?
Another great person.
Like people say, what do you want to do? What do you want out of this? How are you gonna, if I don't trust the files, what are you going to want? I want people to testify. And I still don't have to believe everything they say, but I think we learn from people's body language. We can go out corroborating things they've said. We can chase down stuff. This person, the people who worked on the island, the pilots, these people in power who were he ingratiated himself into like every institution. The Harvard thing, I don't know if you've seen Eric Weinstein talk about being a student at Harvard while Jeffrey Epstein was there, and how he said stuff about Jeffrey Epstein being obsessed with gravity technology, and he just had no idea why. Like, it was spooky.
Yeah. Well, he had a meeting that Lawrence Cross, that guy mentioned in his document.
Right.
It was called the Fight Against Gravity. That was the title of this thing that all these celebrity scientists came to. And it's interesting about Lawrence Cross. He said after Epstein got out the first time, he was asked about it, and he said that his life was not hurt by his relationship with Epstein. He was uplifted by it. Like, he continued to say, "That's my boy."
Dude, that is wrong. Like, if
I know,
I had
crazy.
a friend or family who went to jail for something like that, we're not talking anymore. I'm not speaking positively about you at all.
Yeah.
I think this is the most depraved stuff. I don't know if everyone Epstein dealt with was a part of those crimes, but we have a right to know. There's in somewhere that I saw in some papers like 2 years ago, David Blaine was a part of Epstein.
Yeah.
I'm like,
he made all the evidence disappear.
Yeah, he made Epstein disappear, perhaps.
Right.
He did the magic trick in the very end. But I don't think it's something like I keep hearing people say the Russiagate is a bigger scandal, and I understand the former president weaponizing the government against the incoming president is bad. But to me, Epstein seems like way worse.
I would agree. I think that's old news personally, and I don't see anybody being arrested for that either.
Right.
They're
not. They're not.
Trump does this seesaw thing where he's like, "You're not gonna like any of this, but here's an oldie. What about that Clinton kill list?"
Yeah. Look over here. Look over there. Here's the MLK papers, which is like, it's so funny. No one
Right.
seemed to care.
Yeah, are we still talking about this guy or what?
I think it would be cool if they just released all the Malcolm X papers, because all of Malcolm X's daughters are suing the CIA, the FBI, and the NYPD because they believe they're involved, and I'm pretty sure they are involved with the assassination of Malcolm X. I'm like, okay, it's not a distraction, but maybe in the meantime, you could throw that out there. You could stop that lawsuit, perhaps, and implicate whatever the FBI was doing at Malcolm X, because that's a whole crazy story. Do you think Epstein's alive? What do you think the deal is with this? Did he die?
I think if I had to guess, I'd say he's alive. The floor on that prison that they moved him to right before he died is the only floor where there has been was not successful, but it was an almost successful escape attempt where somebody broke out of the window or wherever, and a helicopter was lowered, and they almost got to it. So I feel like they put him in the best position to be able to get out. And if they wanted to get a guy like that out, and you got a bunch of guards falling asleep and cameras not working, conditions are good.
Yeah, I've seen this story. I don't know if it's true or not, but that people have said that Bill Barr visited the prison before he died. I don't know. I don't know. People have been saying it. There's reports. Who knows what. But the Barr connection I mean, he was, AG, right? During
It's just
Epstein
crazy,
getting arrested,
dude.
and the whole
And
Bill Barr's
his
father.
father and all that. It's just
What do you think of that, dude? Like, when I'm on shows with people who aren't willing to go as crazy as we might with certain things, I think Bill Barr's father, was it Donald Barr? I forget his name. I'm spacing on his father's name right now. But his father hired Epstein at the Dalton School, right? And his father wrote that crazy book a year before he hired Epstein about aliens, human trafficking people. And that's just bizarre, right? Am I crazy for thinking that's crazy?
Bizarre. And he had no qualifications for it. It's the same thing as him getting accepted into this Harvard program. He had no qualifications for it. He gets accepted. And he's a teacher at this school. Let's find out who some of those students were.
Yes.
And maybe find out what their experience was. He seemed to have been put in positions his entire career to be around young women.
Yeah.
In a position of power.
Yeah. I think he's just one of these many examples of someone who's created or groomed by one agency or multiple agencies, not just this country. Mossad, it could be who knows what else. I mean, because I'm thinking of Robert Maxwell. He had dealings with Russia. He had dealings with Mossad. He had dealings with like European gangsters, So who knows? But Epstein was from, the freak show capital of Staten Island, or Coney Island rather. It's just hilarious to me. Yeah. And, I feel like he's just someone who was groomed into this position, kind of like how Ghislaine seems to have been groomed into her position by her father. And when you bring up MK Ultra and you look at this zoomed out with the way MK Ultra is meant to groom people into being a super soldier or, Manchurian candidate, you name it, it's hard to overlook this stuff.
I agree. And when you look at the work that these four scientists, especially Noack and Seligman, it is like the next level in MK Ultra research to a scientific, neurological point. One of the things that Epstein said he needed to do in his application for the visiting fellow program was he wanted to test the heat transfer, the thermal heat transfer in people's brains. He was experimenting on, and he demanded an MRI machine at Harvard to do this with. I don't know if it was provided to him, but what a ballsy and kind of crazy request to make. And he got accepted into the program for it because of the help of this guy. It just baffles me. I feel like these scientists he's controlling, he met through this Edge Institute or Edge publication, edge.org. They were just kind of his underlings, and I feel that like he was probably Ghislaine's underling. I feel like she was probably in charge more than he was.
That is how I feel. I mean, Epstein's clearly a demon, working as an asset, but Ghislaine doesn't seem like this victim. And people try to tell me, I don't believe that for a second. Do you know anything about the Rothschild, Clinton Epstein connections?
No.
I was just looking at this. I didn't know that Lynn Rothschild was introduced to her husband. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Her name was Lynn Forrester. She went to a Bilderberg meeting where she met her husband. She was introduced to him. That's Evelyn Rothschild by Henry Kissinger. And then I just bring that up because in 1995, you can look it up in the Clinton library. She wrote a letter to Clinton about, hey, there's this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, and we want to talk about currency stabilization. Bizarre.
Dude, that's crazy.
It's bizarre.
That's crazy.
Weird stuff, man. There's just so many ways that this monster has its tentacles into so many things. But, dude, I really appreciate you coming on and talking for a bit. Please let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me at Freedom Act Radio on X. Propagandafight.com is my website, and Propaganda Report on any podcasting app that you listen on. Thanks for having me, man. And I just really noticed your robot there in the middle.
What robot?
Oh yeah, people can't see that. That's just for you. That's just for you.
I don't see no robot.
Don't mention the robot, Brad. He's our handler. Okay. All right. Thanks, man. See you later.
All right. Later.
Ooh-wee, oh-wee, oh-wee. So that is Brad Binkley. Look him up. He is awesome. Very funny guy. We had a really great time at Bohemian Grove. It was great. Great time. But this whole story, the more you look into it, it drives you crazy just because there's so many avenues to go. If we have callers, we should probably take some callers in here. I would love to hear from you guys. If you got thoughts on this, if you got thoughts on hostile alien spaceships hurtling towards Earth, we want to hear about that. I love how that news broke. The same time Trump says he might pardon Ghislaine on, was that Friday? Hilarious. Or he said, no, I'm sorry. He didn't say he was going to pardon her. They granted her like partial immunity. And then an hour later, we heard that there's an alien spaceship coming to Earth. It'll never get here. I'll tell you that much. It'll get here when we get closer to getting Epstein files.
Yeah, it was limited proffer immunity
Right.
during the discussions, which basically means her statements can't be used against her in court. The arrangement allows her to provide information without the risk of self-incrimination, because why would we want that, right?
Interesting. Yeah, the whole Dershowitz immunity thing that they worked out. I don't know if Dershowitz actually was with her. She's got an interesting deal that I don't know too much about. That's more of like a legal thing that I'm still trying to understand of how it worked with her getting some immunity from being prosecuted again in other districts. I need to look into that more.
And I mean, I get it. You know,
Yeah.
you're more inclined to provide information if you're not going to go to jail
for
for what
sure.
you're saying. You know, it makes sense to me, but at the same time, I don't think that they should be too lenient here for having her cooperate. I think she should cooperate, regardless of whether it does anything for her or not.
It should have happened sooner.
We kind of need her to.
Yep, there's a lot of people we need to hear from. You know, like what Brad's saying with Martin Seligman, that's fascinating. Like I said last week with Lex Wessner, why hasn't anyone talked to that guy about it? The whole Kidman connection there that he made was crazy. And then the Dershowitz thing, you know, what I meant to say earlier about Dershowitz, why I find him scummy, I'm not just saying that, is in 1997 he wrote an article about why we should lower the age of consent. That was weird. I think he said to 14. And in 1998, a year later, he wrote his defense of Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. And I think I said this on a show a week or two ago. He backpedaled on that years and years later when he started defending Trump against Me Too accusations. But I just find something slimy about that. That's just me, though, maybe. What do you guys think? But, yeah, please call in. Phone lines are live now. Yeah?
Yeah, links are pinned in the chats. We got a couple people in here we're going to get to in just a second. But
Cool.
really quick, I want to throw this out here and get this out.
Oh, yeah.
This is from our boy Project Mayhem.
Shout out Project Mayhem.
He's
Thank
always
you.
on the lookout.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw this up. I don't know. I haven't gotten complete confirmation yet. I've only seen this. This is the first source I've seen with this information. But and Shane just found this out, and I'm keeping everyone in suspense.
Take it away.
Shane
You should
just
take it
found
away,
this
yeah.
out when he got into the studio. He didn't see it, and he said, "What the hell?" So I'm going to bring it up. The Annabelle doll has gone missing from the room of paranormal investigator Dan Rivera, who was found dead shortly after starting a U.S. tour with it.
No.
They fucking stole it.
Oh, no.
And it is on the loose. It is at large, according to this article. And I'm going to be digging deeper into this this week to try to see if there's any other information on it. If anybody finds anything, hit me up on X, @BrandoInverted, tag me. We will figure this out together. But I'm looking at Shane right now, and Shane is pale.
She's looking for a plea deal. She wants partial immunity because she's guilty.
He looks redder on camera than he actually is. I promise you. But he is pale right now.
Yeah, I'm so red in this room. But yeah, we should watch out for that doll. You might remember earlier, what was it, a month ago, when we talked about people being worried that her tour was causing mayhem across this country because there were fires, there were prison breaks, there were murders. And, you know, those things do happen. But do they always happen when Annabelle the doll's around? I don't know.
I don't know that I want to mess with it. I mean, personally, if somebody asked me to, I would take this doll and punt it across a parking lot. I'm not scared of it. But at the same time, you guys know how I am about, like, messing with energy that messes back. Just don't even get involved, you know?
Yeah.
Like, do yourself a favor. But I do think we need to put this bitch back in the box.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I think it needs to happen sooner than later. So we're going to keep our eyes on this. And,
If we had a higher budget, we'd have a knock on the door right now, and we would very reluctantly open it, and she would walk in here and sit on the couch, and we would interrogate Annabelle for all her crimes against humanity.
Well, maybe we can get her in the studio. I don't know. Maybe if we do that, we can
I'll reach
sit her
out to our
over
booker.
there in the guest seat.
Yeah, I'll reach out to our booker, see if you have Annabelle's contacts.
We have to try to find her first.
on the lam.
But all right, Let's get a caller on the line here and get this rolling. Let's go to our homie Corey from Break the Chains Media.
Sick.
Corey, what's up? Welcome back.
Hello. Can you hear me all right?
We can. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. What a great speaker guest you had before. What was his X account again? I was trying to get it. I couldn't quite hear what he said. Did you guys have that?
I will tell you in just 1 second. I'll pull that up. Yeah, Brad is the man. His Twitter handle is freedom. Let me just get this right. It's freedom ACTRADIO. Freedom Act Radio.
Oh, Freedom Act Radio. That's cool, because he kind of said it kind of quick. I was like, I gotta follow that guy.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Brad rules.
Yeah, excellent stuff. And like the whole conversation regarding like what's happening with like the Ghislaine Maxwell 100 names, like this whole thing. And I've called in before, but I literally just had an hour-long conversation with my astrology dude, and like I'm trying to convince him to be a part of my podcast because we do such a good conversation, because I have all of the intel about news and all the media gathering and all the chaos that happens in the world, but he can read it and interpret it into astrology charts. But I called in earlier about talking about an August 9th date. He was talking about an August 9th kind of big moment of unveiling. Yeah. But come to find out that the Ghislaine Maxwell hearing is going to be on August 11th. So like that is right in par with what he was kind of shooting. You always got to do plus or minus a day or two with this astrology reading stuff. But I mean, and he what he did was he read Ghislaine Maxwell's star chart down to the date. You got to have the specific like birth chart sign, but Ghislaine Maxwell, she has a lot of Mercury in her star chart, which is the messenger, which is the you think of the postman, like delivery and news and information. So with Mercury being a prominent sign in her chart, and currently we're in a Mercury retrograde, but Mercury goes direct. Mercury comes out of retrograde right in that same time that she's having those quote unquote hearings. And then we're going to have her disclose this information, whatever information it is. I think it's all going to be bunk BS anyways. She's going to say whatever wants to be heard by the DOJ, but I'm not going to take 2 seconds of that. But I just think it's all interesting how this unveiling and all the star charts and this, it all aligns in a very unique way with Ghislaine Maxwell. And then the whole Alan Dershowitz thing. I mean, like, we have the web we weave. They could not write a script that is as involved as this that we're witnessing right now in this world.
100%. And maybe the August 9th date doesn't have to mean it's her hearing. Perhaps something happens before to stop it.
Yes. Or possibly, exactly. Like, or something comes in, new information comes to light regarding this moment. But I mean, for all things, if you want to kind of like distill it all down, the fact that Alan Dershowitz is being so upfront about all of this. Well, you know, there might be good people that are compromised with this information. It could be a bad, you know, you don't know who's good and bad in these files. Like, you know, he's trying to cover some people, including himself. And then, you know, Leslie Wexner just like handing all this information, you know, giving Epstein all of this information, or like being the financier of all this.
He was the power of attorney for Lex Wessner. Like,
yeah,
the guy from Bed Bath & Beyond and Victoria's Secret, I believe it was for 16 years. Why?
Yeah,
and he gave him like a $270 million house.
You have, what's his name? You have the Department of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, sitting right behind Trump, and he's next door neighbors of Epstein up until the day he died in the New York penthouse.
Yep.
So I mean, like, it's not a coincidence. Robert Maxwell's death in the Spanish Isles or off the coast of Spain.
Yep.
In the 90s, like there's way more, and I don't think we're ever gonna really know. And I think what it really comes down to is that there are honest people in this world who want the truth. We're never going to see the truth. But I think being persistent and being passionate about what we know to be good in this world, we do not want evil people to be running this world. Therefore, whoever is tied to this nefarious multi-generational decade bloodletting, whatever have you, that's kind of beside the point. We don't need to convince people that it is the evil. It's the fact that like it is happening and these people are covering up for each other. Therefore, the brothers and sisters next to us in our community and in our networks, we have more in common to unite together to say, yeah, we probably don't want these people in charge of the upper echelons of corporations, public service, military apparatus, government, border control, all these things. That's what we're trying to shine the light of. And if it means a fundamental change of our global system, like, so be it. But we have to be prepared for the ramifications that we're asking for, you know?
Is it so much to ask that we are not governed by satanic pedophiles that hurt children? I mean,
right.
I don't know why this is so controversial.
Why is it so difficult?
Because I think the network is so widespread. It's not just this country, and it's not just this decade. This is centuries old, thousands of years going on. You know, we know evil is just rampant, and this is just our version that we have to deal with, but it's deeply embedded. You know, I brought up the Rothschilds, and that's become kind of like a meme, but I mean, it's no joke. That is centuries of a very powerful family with a lot of money. You know, just one example for those who don't know, I'm sure many of you guys do, but like, this family had so much money during the Napoleonic Wars, they funded both sides of the war. And then they decided, we want Britain to win, so let's pull back the funds on Napoleon. And, you know, I forget which Rothschild it was at the time, but like, they knew about Waterloo and Napoleon losing, I think, before the press. I believe that's what it was. They knew before someone, I believe it was before the press. This is deep, ancient money. And it's not just them. You know, we can talk about the DuPont family. They're insanely powerful. Also possibly incestuous, definitely evil. You know, we've had guests on this show, Destiny Rendez, I always get her last name wrong, Resendez, talking about the DuPont heir, one of them, raping his own little child, you know, and then he didn't have to go to jail. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff with the DuPont stuff, and like we can get into the chemicals and the polluting and how they made the gunpowder for every American war. And these are huge, powerful families. The DuPonts were also, I believe, part of the business plan we've talked about with trying to overthrow FDR with Smedley Butler. You know, these corporations coming together to overthrow our government. You know, not like I remember, but I don't like FDR as a concept. But I don't want to overthrow a government. I don't want a coup ran by corporate, you know, magnates. And installing someone to turn the country into whatever their vision is, which is war. Well, Smedley's put it best. War is a racket. It's not really for freedom. It's to keep the corporations going. Something the Rothschilds know a lot about, making money off war. Something the DuPonts know a lot about. Something the Rockefellers knew a lot about. Rockefellers were funded by the Rothschilds. So there's this like ancient strain of very rich evil that has just embedded itself into the DNA of, unfortunately, Earth. And now we're dealing with it.
And I think that's like the crux of what I think this generation and what we are here as humans on this plane to kind of break, you know, my channel is called Break the Chains, like Break the Chains Media. You have to be the ones to be the first and last line of the truth of what we see in this world, how to speak the truth to power, how to be awakened to see that this is a multi-generational bloodline, you know, evil power control system that has been going for hundreds, if not thousands of years. If you like I guarantee you there were people in power that do the exact same thing that they're doing now that they were doing during you know, pre-dynastic flood Egypt. Like we're talking like thousands of years ago human culture. Like Moloch, that is, I guess, an inherent flaw of humanity, you know? Is that there will always rise to atop some ego megalomaniac people who want to enslave humanity, and we need to try to find that balance as free people of the world.
Well put, man. Totally agree. I think that's great. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate all you do. Keep crushing it. Lastly, you guys, I think the powers that be are getting kind of lazy when this active shooter decides to off himself on floor number 33. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
Just
that's kind of
before-
they're getting a little lazy with that.
Just
but
before I walked in here,
Yep.
Kellen told us that. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
God, that's gonna give us all the trolls meat for another 2 days. But y'all can find me on X, Break the Chains Break the Chains Media on Rumble. Appreciate all you guys do.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate it. I always appreciate the phone calls. Yeah, we're gonna have to look into that some. And maybe at some point tonight we will do some Vance Bolter updates, which I do have. So if AK Kamar, if you're out there listening, maybe you can call in later. If we have time, hopefully we can get to you and talk about your neck of the woods. And this suspected assassin, Vance Bolter, discusses his undercover investigation and new statement from prison. So, like I was saying on IRL earlier today, we're just trapped in this revolving door of political violence. And unfortunately, it's nothing new. But I mean, just thinking back to January and Mangione, all the things we've talked about on this show, the Idaho shooter killing those first responders, the embassy shooting, this shooting. I mean, this seems like it's political, but who knows what's behind it. But the symbols that are baked into this stuff, it's like, I can't help but not see it, and it's concerning. And I see a lot of my friends also being worried about that. But I don't believe in coincidences. But we'll see. I got to read more into that story. It sounds like there might be more dead bodies than we initially heard when we started IRL. At first, we heard two people were killed, and that's unfortunate. That's too many. But by the time I ran over to this studio, I heard it might be 5, and I was seeing other tweets that there's more, unfortunately, deceased in the building. So we'll have to keep up on that story. But let's get to another caller.
Yep, really quick. As always, like, subscribe, follow, and share the show with everybody you know. We appreciate you hanging out. If you came over from IRL, welcome. We've been talking about the Ghislaine Maxwell situation. Sorry, Ghislaine. I like
Show her some respect.
I've been doing the whole Ghislaine Maxwell thing because it's
Dillon.
just because I'm an asshole. But
Yep.
thanks for watching again. We had a guest earlier. We were discussing the 100 names. Give us your comments on that. Whether you think they're going to release them, whether you think it's going to matter. If you think she's bullshitting. We're all very curious to hear what you guys have to say. And also, we have another Culture War live show coming up in D.C. this Saturday. The last one was awesome. If you missed it, you still got a chance to come out to the shows August 2nd and August 9th. I believe tickets are still available for both. I'm not sure about the 9th. Maybe the 2nd sold out. I'm not sure. But take a look up dccomedyloft.com. You can get tickets. I think they're $30 for GA. So come on out. Shout out to Tiny for hanging out this weekend. It was cool to see you, dude. And we'll be partying down there again this Saturday. So come out, say what's up. And let's get to... let's go to Jordan. Jordan, what's up? You're on IWL.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
What is up?
Nothing much. So would you guys want the story that I have about a craft I saw or about a possible government operation?
I'm going to say government operation.
Okay, so years ago, I used to teach at a high school. We had this robotics club. Started looking into some information about just technology with that stuff. And one of the rabbit holes one of my students started looking down was, oddly enough, negative mass. And I was like, what the heck is negative mass? That doesn't seem to make any sense, right? Well, I had a friend who used to work with Lockheed Martin. And so I called him and asked him about, was like, what do you know about negative mass? Because he used to work with, he worked in the Cassini project as well.
Interesting.
And so after that, I said, do you have anyone who still works with NASA or Lockheed or anything like that knows anything about using negative mass for propulsion or something like that? Well, after school, we had our little robotics meeting. I called the guy up to the school, got him visitor pass, whatever. He got on the phone and said, yeah, I got a buddy at NASA. I'm going to call because I told him I wanted him to talk to our robotics club. And So we called him. He had him on speakerphone, called the guy up, but the guy didn't know the premise of what the question was going to be. So then he started asking him about negative mass. And the guy from NASA started screaming and yelling, saying, "Who told you about this?" All sorts of stuff. I'm not going to say all the profanities because I know you're on air, but in front of a bunch of high school kids who had us on the phone, he's screaming about, "Why would you call me on this line?" He's like, "They're going to come for us," and all this stuff. He's like, they're listening to everything we're saying.
Really?
And the guy hung up, and I was like, okay, what's up with that? So I started looking on some things like, 4chan and whatever else to see what I could find about negative mass. And I found an article that was published and then redacted about, I think it was cesium, I want to say, that they were trying to artificially lower the temperature to close to absolute zero. And what happens is, instead of so normal mass attracts, like universal gravitational constant, all that crap, right? Where you have Fg equals m1 m2 times g divided by r squared. But however, when it comes to negative mass, it works kind of like electrons, where electrons repel each other versus protons in the in a nucleus. They sort of attract each other, where they're held together by a force, but electrons repel each other. And apparently negative mass would do the same thing. And it also kind of works where it's like, where you have black holes, which are a super dense mass, and the opposite would be a white hole, where you have, theoretically, according to one thing I found in Russia, I want to say, is where a white hole is basically negative mass that's super concentrated.
Yeah, and for you guys watching, normal mass would be plus 1 kilogram, so negative mass would therefore be negative 1 kilogram. It's one of those things where if you were to apply force to the negative, it would actually come towards you rather than be pushed away, if that makes any sense.
What do you think they're doing with this?
And so the thing with that, me and my buddy who used to work for Lockheed Martin, we called around a few other people who are also retired from Lockheed Martin or whatever else that he used to work with. And apparently they have an idea of like a rail gun or something like that, potentially, where this is the idea that we were throwing around with a couple of guys, and they were saying you could do something like have negative mass, and if you had a railgun of negative mass, apparently it would repel the positive mass as well. So if you had a beam of alternating positive and negative mass, you would be able to implant something somewhere at a further distance without them knowing. It almost like teleportation, if that makes any sense. But if it's in a railgun type of way, it's like very small objects. And when I say small, I mean like, atom sized. But if you were to continuously stack atoms somewhere at a high rate, then you could move something very small.
That's interesting.
And they think theoretically that this would be one of the keys to like faster than light travel.
Right.
If they could figure it out.
Wow.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I could see them putting on something on the moon slowly over time, or weaponizing that. I mean, it's Lockheed Martin. So that's very interesting. It's very interesting. So you had a friend who gave you the contact to this guy.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was a trusted guy, but he didn't know the premise of the question. And the second he heard negative mass, even though he's in front of a bunch of children, more or less, they're teenagers, he lost it.
Yeah, he completely flipped out.
What did the kids do?
They sat there just kind of looking shocked. And afterwards, I was like, all right, well, meeting's done for today.
I mean, that's a life-changing experience. You're looking into something like negative mass, which is something that's already fascinating. And now you bring in this guy. You said he was a NASA guy?
Yeah, he apparently, I don't know, again, he wasn't my buddy, but I think he worked, again, with like Raytheon or Lockheed or someone, but worked with NASA.
Fascinating. And have you seen other updates about this since then? Like, how long ago was that?
This was 2019. COVID happened, and
wow.
I really hadn't talked to a bunch of those people. I don't teach at that high school anymore.
Oh wow. Well, that's crazy. Be very
Yeah, and
interesting to
this
see
is
that pop
so
up.
I live out. I'm just going to say mid Florida.
Mhm.
So there's tons of Lockheed and former NASA guys out here. So
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about Lockheed a lot just because of the fires at Area 51 and all the Lockheed stuff out there. Perhaps they've been working on something like this out there.
right.
Well, appreciate the call, man.
Oh yeah, I was say that's all I got.
Yeah, appreciate the phone call, dude.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
Wild. Negative mass. Is this stuff you know from your time at Fermilab?
No, I actually was too busy resetting passwords and taking phone calls. I was like entry-level help desk when I was working at Fermilab, so I wasn't. I was just a basement dweller at that point.
Or you have an NDA and you're actually really good at
I
snatching
actually
particles.
don't believe I had to sign an NDA there because I was really incapable of being exposed to any information that they didn't want out there. They had that building pretty well segregated.
I'm sure.
But there was a day where somebody actually committed suicide in the building. The building is a giant kind of almost like Atari looking symbol.
Yeah, it's
that's
weird.
massive and towers over in Batavia, Illinois. And the entire center of it is hollowed out. There's a wire hanging from the ceiling that's, I want to say, well, it comes all the way from the ceiling to the top of the building. So this wire is extremely long, a couple 100 feet at least, with a pendulum hanging at the bottom in a sand pit. And the natural movements of the building caused this to draw lines in the sand in the atrium down below, which is kind of cool. But the rest of the building is built around it with these kind of wire, railings set up on either staircases, and it's very easy to jump over them.
Wow.
And somebody actually one day jumped off, and I forget what floor it was, but smack right in the center of the atrium, killed themselves. It was
Did you
crazy.
know the story?
I was not there, thankfully, so I did not witness any of this. This was like right after I stopped working there, so I missed the entire freak show that was. But
crazy.
yeah.
Was it a scientist? Like any?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
I never looked into. This was back in, God, I don't know, 2000 something. I want to say maybe like 2000, somewhere between 2008 and 2012. I want to say, because I can't remember what.
I thought you were going to say someone jumped into the beam, because that story from CERN when the guy got the beam through the head.
Yeah, no, I heard about that, which was crazy.
It's crazy.
For all I know, there's been other accidents there too. I never really looked into anything outside of that. I was super focused on moving on, and
it's a fascinating place.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And they had buffalo. They had a whole thing of North American bison there on site.
What are they doing? What are they doing with those buffalo?
I don't know. Hopefully making them into some tasty burgers. I'm a carnivore, so I like bison burgers. They're delicious.
Me too. Sweet. Do we have another caller we should get to?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
All right. Let's see. I got. Jordy was in here last week, and I never got to him. So let's see if I can get Jordy in here. Jordy, you're on the show. If you can unmute.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
Sorry, I called in a few weeks ago. My husband and I called in about the missing time story where we were sitting on the couch and we were just having a conversation.
That's right.
But I have another interesting story.
Great.
So back when I worked for, I was serving and drinks and food to celebrities. I had the opportunity to work really closely with P. Diddy's chef.
Oh man.
And I was a teenage girl.
Oh wow. How'd you get that job as a teenage girl serving? Was it drinks?
Yeah, drinks.
That's already suspicious.
But I was freshly 18.
Okay.
So I could.
There's
I
some.
could
I was
do
gonna
that.
say there's some states that allow it at 18.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well we're already off to a crazy start.
Yeah. So I'm working in Miami and serving drinks and stuff to people, and I when I'm not in the middle of serving and stuff, especially at night, when we're just doing all the breakdowns and like cleaning up and stuff. The P. Diddy chef came in to do some prep work. And so it was a really interesting time. But the thing is, so we had like a team of like 40 people, and he gave invitations for people to go and work on P. Diddy's yacht starting that summer when the event was done. And the only people that he gave invites to were freshly 18-year-old girls.
Of course.
And now that itself, like, you know, he gave one to me and like a few other people, and I was going to go on his yacht and serve because I thought that was like a unique opportunity, you know.
Good for the resume.
I'm so glad that, you know, my young, undeveloped brain didn't have the opportunity to do that because I decided to go and get married instead.
Incredible. Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. But what really irks me about the whole situation is P. Diddy's chef. I'll paint you a picture of who this guy was. He was a really tall Jamaican guy, probably like 6'5", and he said that he was in his 50s, and that he said that he was like my dad's age. But weird. He looked like he was in his 20s. And on top of that, he carried himself in a way that like my dad would. So, but so like in the way that he talked, it was like how my dad talks. But when it comes to like this guy was a really charismatic guy, like, but there's something off about it though. So like, sorry, trying to explain it.
Take your time.
He was very charismatic in a way that was like being under a spell, if that makes sense. Like as soon as we left the event, like it did stay in the back of my mind. Like, by the way, this guy gave me his number. But right. And he told me to text him by like a certain day if I wanted to go on serve on the yacht. Right. And I ended up like out of curiosity, like a year later calling that number, and it went like it was not a good number like anymore. So I honestly think that there's something a lot bigger going on with the whole P. Diddy thing. But the way that this guy like carried himself, he had like everybody just loved this guy. Everybody did. And then he had a way of talking to the 18-year-olds where they were like, they didn't want to do anything, like including myself, like me and this like group of 18-year-olds. Like we didn't want to leave the kitchen and go clean up. We just wanted to stay in the kitchen and help him prep and like do whatever we needed to like help him with whatever he needed. That's all we wanted to do. It's so weird. Me and my friends, we talked about this after the fact, especially after the whole P. Diddy thing came out. And it was just like, yeah, it was crazy. Like this guy seemed like he had a spell under all of us.
What made you? Oh yeah, it does. I mean, you're making me think of a Charles Manson type, just because that's what they said about Manson. He was very charming.
He did seem to kind of almost run this like a cult. So.
I mean, it does look cultish for sure. What made you say no? I know you said like your underdeveloped brain, but like, was there a feeling on why you should say no, or something you saw?
Oh no, I really wanted to go. I had every intention of going, but like 2 weeks after I like had that thing, time in Miami, I ended up meeting my husband.
Oh, so you just got married.
Instead of spending my summer on a yacht where like we're in the middle of the ocean and I have no way, like I didn't want to spend my entire summer away from him.
Amazing.
Because I just like fell in love with him right away. So, he saved my life.
Yeah.
But I was going to go out in the middle of the ocean, and I was like this freshly 18-year-old that probably would not have reacted very kindly to anything going on uh, if I was like to get drugged or something.
Right? Yeah. Who knows
Um,
what would have happened out
yeah,
there?
Oh, there's
yeah,
countless
I
pictures of
probably
Diddy
would
out
have
there
gone
with
missing.
like pills in his hand and stuff. You know, there's one with like his arm around another girl, and he's got a
Yep.
pill like literally in his fingers that he's like ready to give her. Like, I feel like that was just common.
Did you know anyone who did go?
No, as far as I know, none of the ladies went.
Hmm.
Like, I know for me, like 2 weeks after I met my husband, the other ladies, I think there's just like some divine intervention. We were all like a part of like this like a youth group.
Mm.
So we were all Christians, and so I think that God really like put His hand in there.
Yeah.
Was like no,
They're
and
probably
he stayed
surprised.
every single one of us.
They're probably
Yeah, we all
surprised that
wanted to go
when you
and
went.
do it.
Yeah. A lot of people would just say, "Oh my goodness, Diddy, famous people and friends, a yacht." They'd just go, and that's how a lot of these people get sucked up into these situations because it's they can't. It's so alluring. But thank God you saw otherwise. You got married.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. That's the whole story. It.
Wow.
uh,
And did you
I'm
did
glad.
you did you just quit when you got married? Like, did that job end? Like, how did it all end for you in there?
Um, so I can't really talk much about that job
Mm,
because because of things.
yep, yep.
There's a lawsuit going on, so I can't really say
Okay,
much. But um,
fair enough.
yeah,
Wow. Well, that is a crazy story, and we are glad you made it out of that.
yeah. And once this whole lawsuit thing clears up, I have many more stories.
All right, perfect.
Awesome.
We know where to find us.
We will be here.
All right,
Good luck with everything.
thank you.
Of
Thanks.
course,
Yeah.
thank you. Wow. I know someone who had a gun pulled on them by Diddy, and like Diddy got, he didn't get the book thrown at him, but I think Diddy's up to some crazy stuff, to some really crazy stuff.
Just like the shit that happened to like Kid Cudi's car and like
For
all
real.
of that shit. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like
For real.
this dude was nuts, man. Like,
I mean, it's just maybe it's just ego and stuff, but like there's a lot of stories that are weird and like it's just crazy.
yeah,
you
and
know?
like the whole thing with Biebs too, like just
was
watching how
weird.
he was reacting around him, seeing
Yes.
him and everything, and how he treated him. It was just like Biebs
Yep.
always had his head down, like it
Yep.
was just
the way he treated Kanye after he posted the photo of the White Lives Matter shirt with Candace, and then Diddy was like, "Meet me, like I'll meet you at the airport." Like, it was very threatening. Ye kept sharing those screenshots of the text, and I was like, that's when he called him a Fed. So for like years, anyone who was following that story was like, "Oh, Diddy's a Fed," because I was just like, "God, Ye wouldn't lie about that." And then he got arrested. I was like, "Man, he might be a Fed. He might be a Fed." And he might be. I don't know. And I'm not saying he was hired to be in the agencies, but perhaps an asset.
I was gonna say he doesn't seem like a full on
No.
W2 fucking Fed boy. to
No,
me,
like
but,
he's an asset. It's crazy that story, like his.
Oh wait, he's in prison. He's gonna be a literal asset.
Ooh, there you go for
Starting
your
off
drums.
early, let's go.
Wow, that's good and scary. But it's crazy that news broke the same week that Trump started saying that Epstein was a hoax, right? And that it was a definite suicide story. It's just crazy that those two stories happened in the same week. Completely buried the Diddy story, but. I think there's more. I think there's more there, just because he lived such a debaucherous life. But who knows? He might come back. I also do think, though, I will say on the flip side, despite all the bad stuff that he's done, that they charged him with a lot of stuff, and I think they bit off more than they could chew, and they sold it as a way different story than we were told. I think he's just a degenerate. And the video of him beating up Cassie, his girlfriend, is just disgusting. So, yeah, man, who knows? Let's do another caller.
Let's do it. Let's bring on Gingerbeard, who currently has no microphone.
Oh no.
If you can hear us, Get your mic active. Say what's up.
Renee. I'm sure he will get off. I'm sure that's about Diddy. Oh, man. Who was
Can you hear me?
Yo,
Yeah, there you go.
Hey guys, how's it going?
good,
Yeah,
man. How are
welcome
you?
back.
Doing pretty good. I just got to say though, I was watching IRL and Dr. Stella is incredibly based,
She rules, right?
right? She was dunking on Elad. It was awesome.
She said, wait, she said white guys are too emotional to a lot's face.
Yeah, did he? Yeah,
like
that was
it.
pretty funny.
I like it.
She was actually making some really good points too that I would we had discussed before. If you remember, I'm the guy who's quadriplegic,
Oh, yeah.
and you had asked my opinion about Elon's Neuralink
Right.
and being hooked up to that.
That was the you were in that
Truck
truck
accident.
accident, right? With the
Yep.
spine injury.
Yep.
That was
you,
me.
you told us about
Okay.
Brain Bridge.
I remember that.
The BioBridge.
BioBridge, right. That's right. Well, yeah. So what do you think about all that now?
So actually, interesting story. Just like 2 weeks ago, the FDA had approved a thing called the dancing molecule. If you want to check that out, it's looking very promising. There's actually some videos of rats that they scientifically, or they go in and they break the spinal cord of it, and then they inject it's a nanoparticle that gets into the nerves, and it enables like a scaffolding or a bridge. So it goes like right over the it kind of like builds like a little neural pathway over the scar tissue that allows like the nerve to regenerate and blood vessels and
Wow.
the myelin sheath like reform. And these rats that are like completely paralyzed, like 2 weeks after just one injection, were able to start walking again. So
Whoa. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
at it now. That's crazy.
I'm seeing regenerative spinal cord injury therapy repairs tissue and reverses paralysis in preclinical models.
yep. So they're supposed to be doing like I think human clinical trials like sometime next year. So I'm gonna be looking out for that. Maybe I can sign up and get in there. 'Cause that'd be great.
Definitely
Yeah.
keep us posted on that because that's
Please.
very interesting.
You know, I wonder if, we're going to see any type of propaganda against it from the people doing the brain-computer interface.
I feel like you always do.
Yeah, like they're going to be like, no, not that. They're going to have some way, because I'm just thinking of Tesla and what he went through with the AC currents, with electric, with Edison. But, who knows? I hope not, because I like stuff like this. This stuff is very interesting. I'm excited to read
It's
about
also how far are they going to be able to go legally with a lot of this stuff. Some of this here says that previous attempts at treatments have faced many limitations, but they're trying to take a completely new approach to neuroregeneration with the potential for a breakthrough in the field. So who knows what those limitations are, whether or not they're allowed to proceed past certain boundaries.
Yeah.
It's one
and
of
if
those
it
things.
can be replicated in humans and not just rats, But they do lots of tests. I don't agree with a lot of them. There's a lot of crazy tests out there on these mice and rats. But that does sound promising. I mean, you said it was a completely paralyzed rat.
Yeah. So they I think usually they break it around like the T5 level or something like that. So it loses the ability of moving its back legs. And then the videos you like see like after like a couple of weeks it starts like being able to use its back legs again.
I don't know why I thought for the life of me that this rat would have been pre-paralyzed before the experiment, and it was just an unfortunate scenario where they were trying to help it. But yeah, it actually makes sense that they would have paralyzed the rat on purpose first and then tried to fix it, which is disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do it on pedophiles.
Yeah, right? Human
just
test
put it
on
out there. On Jeffrey Epstein.
one of the worst scum on the planet.
Yeah, but I mean that's incredible though. I'd like to see more stuff like that. I reference you and the I keep saying brain bridge, but you say it's the BioBridge.
BioBridge, yeah.
And when I talk to a lot of people about this, I think that stuff's fascinating and it's not talked about enough because everyone's dumbfounded by the Neuralink, which is, I mean, it's crazy. Whether you agree with it or not, it's a crazy situation that it's a crazy invention, and I understand why it's fascinating to people. I just see the long-term risks of it outweighing the short-term benefits.
Well, this is crazy because this is talking about nanofibers. that are used for this. So to administer the treatment, researchers inject the liquid therapy into the region where a spinal cord injury occurred. The liquid then gels into a network of nanofibers, which serve as a scaffold to support cell growth. These nanofibers contain bioactive signals that trigger potent regenerative pathways, enabling motor neurons from the brain to regrow past the injury site and connect to the lower spinal cord, reestablishing connections that were severed by injury.
Wow.
And it's interesting they call it the
nanotechnology.
dancing molecule because the molecule is actually like it moves and shakes, and they found that the faster it moves, it's able to like build a better connection.
It says that it's actually controllable too, which is even crazier. They can control the motion of these things, and it says by doing so, scientists discovered that intensifying the molecular motion increased the therapy's signaling power that led to greater tissue regeneration and functional improvement in the injured animals.
Wow.
So the movement has a lot to do with it, apparently.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when they open up for human trials.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I thought it was just great, though, that Dr. Stella was, she was kind of basically saying what I was saying when she said that, you know, like, he's basically just using, like, human, like, the guise of healing injuries with this, to be able to do these human trials with the Neuralink.
I was so impressed with her. I typically know who I'm going to be on with on Monday nights, but I just didn't for whatever reason. And the second I walked into the room, I was like, holy moly, it's Dr. Stella Emanuel. And during 2020, I mean, that's one of the bravest faces out there. Coming from the medicine world to talk out against all that stuff, she was badass. And I love her whole attitude. And, you know, she talked a lot about God. She said she's a minister as well as a physician. And, I really, really appreciated talking to her. Very cool.
Yeah, she was great. I'd love to see her again.
Yeah, I hope she comes back. It'd be great. Maybe do a culture war. We can do a debate with her and someone else because she's great. You know, she's got a lot to say, and she's a good balance of faith and, like, good science, not the new cultish science.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that up to your attention because I thought it was really great. I was just reading, you know, I kind of always like every week or so I'll like search up, you know, see if there's any kind of new breakthroughs in therapeutics or anything. And I was like, oh wow, it got approved. Cool.
Incredible.
And there's been a couple of other regenerative medicines out there too that are starting to get into their trial phases. So there's definitely a lot of potential out there. And I don't think sticking a computer chip in your in your brain is the way that's going to heal this stuff.
Agreed. Well, I'm stoked to follow this story. I'll definitely keep an eye on it as well. And if you hear anything else that's new or any other types of technologies and stuff like that, give us a call.
Yep. And I'm glad there's a glimmer of hope out there for you and other people like you. My advice is just be very careful what you submit yourself to. You know, try to give it time if you can, and make sure that these aren't screwing people up. From experience, it's very, very easy to get screwed up by this stuff. So just be careful, and, you know, all the best with that, man.
Yep.
Yeah, because it is a nano material, so it's going to be a foreign body still.
Exactly.
Yep.
What is that made of? What kind of metals?
I know. Can we get the Maha version?
Yeah.
Like, what's up, RFK Jr.? Like, you're doing all these things with the FDA. Can we do the BioBridge Maha version? But definitely keep an eye on it. And I guarantee there probably will be other versions as well with different types. So
I got a lot of hope, though. You know, within, in the next 5 years, you know, maybe they'll finally have a cure for this stuff and MS and all kinds of other nasty degenerative diseases.
100%. Yeah, the future can be bright. As dark as it might seem, it can also be extremely bright. Awesome, man. We appreciate the phone call.
Absolutely. You guys have a good one.
Thanks, you too. Oh, man. Looking at you guys in the chat. Hilarious. Who said it? The chat just reopened to somewhere else. And I can't find it now. But someone said about Edison electrocuting the elephant. I missed it. Ryan Creaso. Shane said 99% of reporters are garbage. And I say that as I stare at a lot. I didn't really mean it at a lot, but, you know, we have our things. I like a lot. Everyone's like, they hate a lot. Me and a lot get along just fine. We just disagree on like 99%, maybe less. But on the big things, we definitely disagree on.
I don't mind a lot outside of the chair. A lot's cool outside of the chair.
We get along just fine. Everyone's like, man, he must be, is he just a bit? Everyone says about Ian. I'm sure they say about me to other people, but
it's one of those things where it's like sometimes I wish Trump wouldn't talk. You know? Like, just don't say anything. You know, for a little bit, maybe things will be fine. That's kind of how I'm kind of
wish
like
Shane
that.
would stop talking about clones so much. Well, I'm not, and it's not a bit. I believe this stuff, but Alad's great. We just totally disagree on everything, and it's fine. I like that. Someone said Alad stood up to Milo. That was a great episode. I can't believe I was in that room. I didn't say much. There wasn't a lot of air left in that room. Oh, man. That was a fun episode. But let's get to another caller.
Sure thing.
You guys are hilarious.
Double checking my list from last week. Give me a second. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. And then let's go to somebody new here. And I'm saying new based off of a name that I don't recognize, but I know how you guys like to pull the wool over my eyes. Let's go to Normal Gen Z Dad. What is up? You're on Inverted World Live. Welcome.
Oh, hey, what's going on?
What's
How you
going
doing?
on?
How you guys doing?
Chilling. What's going on?
Not too much. I'm in the grocery store.
Oh,
fantastic.
Nice. Anything
Yeah.
good? Anything good there? How's it looking?
Well, everything's expensive.
Oh, yeah.
But
It's so bad.
Shane, I thought you would think it's cool. I live in Goshen.
In New York?
Yeah.
Holy moly. So, yeah, Goshen, I just mentioned it last week. That's where I was at Ulysses S. Grant's old house where I found my petrified, mummified bat. I love Goshen.
Oh, man.
There's a great tapas restaurant in Goshen.
Not the mummy bat.
Yeah, the mummy bat. And the harness racing track is there. My parents were harness racers when I was a little boy, and I spent most of my young years at the Goshen racetrack.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's
funny, too,
crazy.
because I do appliances, so I thought you would think that's funny, too.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. Are you from that area?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Goshen. Yep.
Sick. I almost went to that middle school out there before some last minute changes.
Oh, yeah, the
John
hooker
C.
school?
Hooker, yeah. Crazy. Awesome. Well, that's awesome. You're from Goshen. I know it very, very, very well.
Nice. Yeah, I just had a little story. Local thing that happened. I was on my way home from work. I work in Connecticut, actually, and my father-in-law and I were driving down 84 down the highway, and we were passing the Orange County Airport, and there was some sort of I don't know what it was, but it was lights in the shape of a cross over top of the airport. And we're both looking at it, and we're both like looking at each other like, are you seeing that? and it was kind of like the sky was dark, so you couldn't really see exactly what shape it was. You could just see lights in the shape of a cross, a long row of lights and then a short row of lights. It was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I opened the window and I'm looking, I stuck my head out the window and I'm looking, and then we got off the next exit and we turned around and we tried to go back and look, and there was just nothing there.
Whoa.
And we never saw it again. And it was just the weirdest thing ever. And it was like, we both saw it and nothing ever happened. There was no reports. There was nothing ever said or anything. Nobody else seemed to have seen it on the highway. I don't know what it was, but I thought you would think that's interesting,
It
being
is
a
interesting.
local.
Did it move? Was it just suspended in the air?
No, it was just over the airport. It was like, it was just, but it was huge, like unbelievable, the size that it was. It was like,
That's
and
weird.
I don't think it was a reflection. There was no clouds, so I don't know.
And it seemed like a solid thing in the air as opposed to something like a beam of light up there.
Honestly, it's a good question, because it's like you kind of try to like think back to things that happened, and like you try to not make things up, in your mind. But it's like I don't really know. I know I saw a row of lights, and the sky above it was dark. Couldn't really see much else. But it was just it was the weirdest thing ever, and I don't know. I have no explanation for it. No explanation for it at all.
Very weird. Very weird. You saw it with your dad, and then it's just gone by the time you turn around.
Yeah, and then we have Pine Bush nearby. I don't know if you know like the history of the UFOs and stuff in Pine Bush, but it's like they have a diner there called the Cup and Saucer. You know, like the alien saucer. You know,
yeah.
their logo is an alien.
I know, I
flying.
love it.
It's,
That town is wild. Yeah, I told a story on the show a few weeks ago about I had a girlfriend who lived in Pine Bush who was deathly afraid of being abducted by aliens. That was my introduction to like Pine Bush stories. I thought it was just her. It turns out it was the entire town. And it's wild.
Real.
They take it's serious out there. They have the UFO museum in Pine Bush. They have the story of the columns of fire from the cemetery in Pine Bush. Goshen's got weird stories too. There was that old like school maybe with the kids. I think jumped out the window.
The Salesian school.
Yeah.
They knocked it down.
Yeah, it's dark.
They knocked it down, and it's a park now. But yeah, we used to go in there as kids. But some kids jumped off the roof, I think, or something.
Right. Yeah. It's very haunting. Very terrible
They put
story.
up big fences and everything. But yeah, there's a lot of ghost stories around Goshen and everything like that. It's a very weird old town, you know.
Yep. Well, I
Very
appreciate that
odd.
story, man. And shout out to Goshen. Shout out to the Goshen Diner. I miss it. Maybe not the
Still
best
as
diner, but I
mediocre
love
as
it.
ever.
I know, but I love that diner. I used to, when I was a
Yeah.
truck driver, when we were driving a box truck, we would stop there before the sun would come up, and it was always good.
That is awesome.
That's awesome,
That's
man. Appreciate
great.
the phone call.
All right. Have a great night, guys. I
too.
appreciate you
Thanks,
having me
man.
on.
Incredible. Goshen is an awesome, great history there. Ulysses S. Grant, like the story goes that, you know, after he won the war, everyone gave him cigars. You know, like there's different reporting on this, but so this is like mythology. But from what I've heard from Goshen and some books out there, I was in a house that he lived in that was in the woods, but he also had a house on the racetrack that I used to spend time at, and he was obsessed with the harness racing and smoking his cigars. And some people say he got his cancer from all the cigar smoke, which is just crazy to think. Like, he won the war, they gave him this gift of all these, everyone's just like, give him cigars, and that's kind of, from what I understand, what killed him. Wild dude. I believe also Grant wrote his biography before he died because Mark Twain said, you write it, you'll make money, and that's how he left a lot of money behind. But yeah, wild stuff. Ryan is saying, my dad won $2,000 at the horse track after a seagull bullseyed him. That's great.
As in, like, the bird shit on him?
I think so.
Yikes.
I think so. Or just flew right into his face. Ronald Reagan was a radio host here in my hometown from James Lee. Incredible. I'm seeing people with crowns. I'm not sure. This is our top fans. So shout out to the top fans. This is a new thing, I believe.
It's based off of score.
Sick.
Score. So like 1, 2, 3, the whole first, second deal.
So Black Nun drums, you got one.
And it changes from time to time based
I
on.
love
think
it.
You get score for posting comments, and it just keeps going.
I love it. Thanks,
Correct me if I'm
guys.
wrong, but I'm pretty sure. that's how
Midnight
it works.
Toker, I see you. RM Viv 4 squared. I see you. That's incredible. You guys are hilarious. Yeah, maybe it was a sign from Jesus, your favorite uncle said.
Wow.
Christian drone show.
I don't think Renee would have thought that was a sign from God. She seems to be deathly afraid of being shit on by birds.
I've been shut on by birds. At my own birthday party, my mom got a
What?
magician. My mom got a magician when I was 9 at my birthday party, and my mom put me in a black turtleneck, which was terrible for a kid who had buck teeth and a mullet. And the magician pulled.
You went through that phase too, huh?
Oh yeah, and the magician pulled a dove
I
out.
blame my mother for that too. That was
What was up with moms?
That was not my choice.
No.
Okay.
Well, we're forced into it.
It was
We're
not my
forced into
choice.
The magician pulled a dove out of his top hat, and the dove flew off in front of all my friends and hovered above me and shat on my shoulder.
I wonder if he was trained to do that
I know, it was a psyop.
just to ruin everyone's birthday.
Then my mom, that I was like, is this punishment for something I did? But I got a cool Ninja Turtle toy that day. It was awesome.
Did they get it? Was there a picture taken of you crying with like shit on your shoulder?
I don't think I
'Cause
cried. I think I was just like, that makes sense. You know, this is the
I was
life
gonna
I
say,
have.
I need to see that if that
These are the
exists.
cards I've been dealt. I already knew at 9. You know, this is a crazy world. Of course. But actually, what happened was my mom said that's good luck, and I didn't feel any bad way about it. She probably
I
wiped it
think
off.
that's a mother's way of consoling her child in a stressful situation like that. Like, oh, it's okay. It's good luck to be shit
Why I
on
put
by
him in
a
the black
dove in the
turtleneck?
middle of your birthday party. It means you're going to be rich or some
Could
shit.
have put him
on
in the white turtleneck. Yeah, instead she's got, you know, a crazy child running a podcast about paranormal and, you know, all the crazy stuff in the world. But she loves it.
Let's expound upon that. If you've been shit on by a bird, Throw it in chat. Let's see the bird shit stories.
Good luck.
We got 26 minutes left. Let's get weird with the bird shit. I'm totally in for this.
Yeah, it traumatized me. No, it didn't traumatize me. I was proud. The way my mom sold it, she rebranded it immediately.
I never washed that shirt again.
Imagine. Oh, man. Now I'm looking at you guys on Rumble. Man, what is up, Rumble? Look at you guys, killing it.
Yeah, Rumble's popping. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We appreciate
Antonius Block Bad Motivator. I want to delve into the MLK files for sure. It's weird that no one just cares. It's because it's been overshadowed by the Epstein stuff. But I mean, that's major because for those who've looked up the COINTELPRO, the Church Committee hearings, when we found out the FBI letters that they were sending secretly to his wife or to him, trying to make him take his life. I mean, they were doing crazy stuff to MLK and Malcolm. So I want to look into those as well. It's weird we're not really getting into them, but understandably so, because now the Epstein thing has dominated the story. And I think people should care about what happened with MLK, what happened with Malcolm X. Clearly, we need to know more about what happened with JFK because we don't know. The files they released for JFK it was bogus. It was nothing. It was ridiculous. Like, it was kind of embarrassing. Most of us knew about it. And it's like, oh, here's new Operation Mongoose stuff. And Operation Mongoose is crazy, worth knowing, but it was just new little tidbits about what they did to the Cubans. So I'd love to see more of that. So good point there for sure. Scarred by life by goose shit, said B Hops 1. Birds produce very little feces for the amount they eat, unlike mammals. You guys want to know a crazy story that happened in New York? I did this in one of my investigations for the first Inverted World book. After the Sully Sullenberger thing happened, when the geese flew into the engine and he had to land in the Hudson, that emergency landing, they started doing this thing called oiling, where the government got these contracts to, like, within a big radius around every airport in New York, maybe countrywide. I know it was happening in New York near me. We had Stewart Airport. They would oil bird nests, which meant so the eggs would never hatch. And I think they were using drones for some of this stuff. But they did oiling, which was wild. And they also did this thing in Cornwall, New York. There was a lake that was become, like, invaded by geese. And I swear to you, they were abducting geese with, like, unmarked vans from the federal government, came by and got the geese and tried relocating them. And I don't think those geese came back, but, like, new geese came.
The whole unmarked van thing, I'm picturing geese minding their own business on the sidewalk, just walking down, and someone opens the van door, jumps out, puts a black hood over their head, and absconds them into the van and peels
I'm not sure about the hood part, but they definitely were yanked up and gotten rid of. And then they just came back. Like, other ones came, or maybe the same ones, I'm not sure. They were also in New York near me shooting, like, birth control into deer. Crazy stuff. They were like, the deer population is too much. We got to Bill Gates this up. And I think they were, like, putting them to sleep and then injecting them with something. I don't know.
Me and you would be a lot safer if they did that shit out here.
Yo, the deer out here want to kill us.
It's crazy. It's crazy how many deer I see on the way home every night out here. It is insane. And they're all standing dangerously close to the road just staring at me.
Yep.
I have to slow down every single time, like, insanely, because I'm just waiting for one of them to get cocky and try to beat me. And they're going to lose to the gladiator. The gladiator will take you down.
It'll explode.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone out there who drives trucks, we talked about with AK Kamara, you hit a deer with a truck.
I will explode a feather mucking deer.
Yeah, it's splatter.
He'll get sploded.
Let's get to another caller.
Let's do it. Let's go to Anon. Anon, you're on the show. What's up?
Oh, hey. So when I was young, I saw a UFO, and when I was young, I had a ghost, and they seemed to like ceiling fans. But I'm going to tell you a story that I've been kind of uncomfortable to tell for a long time.
Okay, let's hear it.
So back in 2010, I was one of those a-holes parked on the side of the road running photo radar. And one reason I haven't been uncomfortable telling that story. But when we had slow times, we were asked to verify previous incidents. So we would be on the computer and we would look through incidents, verify that license plates were entered correctly and the photo matched the car description, et cetera, right? So we had one of these cameras that was off the highway, and it was pointed underneath a bridge, and it would catch people coming out of the bridge speeding. And there was an incident that I was verifying, and it was like a black car, like a real fancy old Lincoln Town car. And I verified all of that. And then I moved over to the face shot to verify the description of the driver. And there in the face shot, in the passenger side seat, was Princess Diana. And in the driver's side seat was a dark-haired guy. And I immediately knew. I was just like, oh my God, that's Dodie. And so I did the license plate verification, and the name came up to a long name, and it wasn't exactly Dodie Fayed. It was, I think, like something Muslim sounding, but not Muslim. But the last part of the last name was Fayed. And there's not much more to say except for I saw Princess Diana and Dodie Fayed get caught in a photo radar underneath the bridge, ironically.
And when was
here
this?
In Arizona.
This was the bodyguard or whatnot that she was supposedly having the affair with?
She was the one. He was the one that she died in the car wreck with.
Right.
That was under the bridge in wherever that was, England. I don't remember.
Do you think was this like a physical thing, you think, or is this some sort of apparition?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is pure electronics. You can't. I mean, I suppose apparitions could set the system off, but I really don't know. It was, it was clocked at a certain speed. Therefore, a picture, a license plate picture was taken, and a picture through the front windshield was taken.
This was
in the moment
before the accident that they had, obviously, right?
Windshield picture. No, this was in 2010 when I worked at this place that does photo radar and red light.
So what do you think? Are you thinking that if this isn't an apparition and this is you did correctly identify Princess Diana, are you saying
the moment the picture shot up, I was like, oh my God, that's Princess Diana and that dude she died with. And then I didn't remember his name, but the license came back as registered to, it was like Muhammad something Fayed, but it wasn't exactly Fayed. It was like Fayed-a-mode or something. But it was him.
So
it was them two together.
Are you thinking, is your takeaway from this that you think they're still alive?
I believe they're still alive. Fully believe they're still alive.
People do say that. I mean,
the one thing I don't understand though is like, how could a car be registered to his name? I don't understand that.
Did you show anybody else that you work with?
So here's the thing. And one reason I haven't been comfortable talking about this for a long time is because, we had a lot of like privacy issues, and we were highly ingrained with like state law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And being 2010, cell phone cameras at that time were like 1 megapixel. And I was sitting among a group of people at this time, and I couldn't really pull out my phone and snap a picture at this. It just would not have been kosher for my job security.
Did anyone at work, though, look at it and feel the same way?
Well, there's about 3 or 4 people that look at the phone incidents, and I never heard anything from anybody else. I didn't say anything. I didn't dare say anything either. I just sat there staring at it for like 5 minutes, going back and forth through the details, like trying to comprehend what I was seeing. But it was blatantly obvious what I saw.
The camera that caught this, where was that camera located? Do you know?
Okay. Yeah, I do know exactly where it was located. And you're killing me, but I guess I'll go into detail.
Which whatever you're comfortable with, obviously, but yeah, I've got questions now all of a sudden with this.
Okay, so this was in Phoenix, Arizona, on the Highway 51. I don't remember. There was only one camera that had pictures of an underpass, but I believe from memory it was like the Bell Road underpass, and that's where we had photo enforcement cameras that were ran by DPS, the Department of Public Safety. So we were contracted under them to run these cameras.
What questions do you
And
have?
the speed limit there is 55, so 11 over. Anything over 66 miles per hour would have set the system off.
So, and this looked like the exact same car that they had the accident in.
I don't know about the same type of car, but exactly the car that he would be driving as a limo driver or as a chauffeur. It was like a big black Lincoln Town Car type thing.
Okay.
Were you interested in the Princess Di story when it happened, when she died?
Somewhat. I was pretty little when it happened, but I've seen enough stories, seen enough news press, and it was huge when I was little. But I've always been into photography all my life, and so I have pretty good pattern recognition of things. But the second, at first I reviewed the plate, the back of the car, the model, the speed, a short video of it. There's like a 7-second video. But as soon as that front windshield picture happened, and it was a nighttime black and white shot, it struck me. I felt like, when you get that sudden electrical nerve impulse through your whole body for some reason, it struck me. I was like, oh my God, that's Diana. And that one dude. And then I remembered his name when I, saw who the license plate was registered to.
Yeah, I remember very clearly. I was young too, but I remember that being on the TV, and it was very shocking to see these images.
Yeah, I was just a kid. I was up late for what I think my mom was bartending or something that night, and I was waiting for her to get home. And I remember maybe like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I want to say I was probably still up watching TV, and it just started coming in with pictures of
Do you
the
recall what year it was?
I remember being super, super young. I want to say, and I mean, I could look it up for sure and find out here, but I want to say it was like end of the 90s. Let me see if I can find this really quick.
Yeah, I remember seeing
so my experience was about 2010. It's when this happened.
Yeah, so then would you believe that they're alive and here?
August 31st, 1997.
1997.
97. So 97, what was that, 13 years?
Yeah, I was 11.
I was 12.
Oh, 12. I'm horrible at math, good at photography. I believe that they're around somewhere. I somehow, because I'm so convinced of what I saw, that I really do not believe that their full under the bridge incident took place. I don't at all.
Which it was, to anybody who doesn't know, it was blamed on an attempt to evade paparazzi.
That's right.
And they were leaving.
And he was supposedly drunk.
Yeah. Which Doty was not driving. It was according to the official report anyway. It was Henry Paul, I believe, who was driving. I think Doty was riding with her. I could be wrong on that. I need to look that up, but I'm pretty sure it was Henry Paul who was driving the car, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't even know if Doty was. Well, he had to have been in there because he was killed also, I believe. But I believe they're around somewhere, alive. Like I said, the only thing I don't understand is how it would come about that the car was maybe registered under maybe a name similar to it was. There was a Fayed in the name. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that always confused me how that would not be looked into.
Oh, we're also talking,
Unless,
13, 14 some odd years later in Arizona, which is on the other side of the world, basically, from where this wreck took place. So that's even crazier.
Yeah. Well, that is interesting, and I like thinking about it. And I mean, if they're not dead, that is wild. There's a lot of theories about a lot of people not being dead. So
yeah,
and I
you heard it
entertain
from
them.
me first. I believe they're out there. They're alive. I seen them here in Arizona in 2010 for sure, 100%.
We appreciate the phone call, man. Have
All right,
a
thank you
great
much.
night.
Bye.
Bye. I am looking up something. See if I can get this. You ever see the Michael Jackson? The person that people think Michael Jackson is after he allegedly died.
Maybe.
Oh man.
Is this another skin job situation, or is this like a completely different person that they just think?
The chat, you guys probably already know what I'm thinking. I'm spacing on the name. It's like Tay-Tay.
Like a face-off situation?
Dave. Look up Dave real quick.
Dave.
Yeah, on YouTube. People think this is Michael Jackson and that he's not dead and that he went on.
What the hell?
Bro. I'm sorry for anyone who's waiting to call in. But this Princess Di story reminded me of Dave.
So
there's probably like a CNN interview, maybe with like Wolf Blitzer or something, or not Wolf Blitzer. Larry.
What? Hang on a second.
I've been sitting in chairs doing shows since like 3:00. My brain is dead now. Are you seeing it? You got to show that.
There is all kinds of weird shit I'm seeing right now.
Okay, it's an interview with Dave. I think it was on CNN.
This says R.I.P. Dave.
Oh, is he dead? Damn, I don't know.
But this looks like a severe burn victim to me.
Yeah, we gotta hear him talk. Go to YouTube and see if you can find Dave on YouTube. You guys know Dave out there? You guys know what I'm talking about? Larry King. It's with Larry King. Thank you, racist. Thank you, your favorite uncle.
In Los Angeles, Miko Brando, who was with us almost every night after this untimely passing.
So wait a minute, they're talking about Jackson and he's on the show?
They're talking about Jackson.
And Dave.
Dave
yes,
is
that's
here.
his name, Dave.
And the theory
he
is
was
David
David Rothenberg. He was set on fire in 1983, suffered, as you can see, terrible scars. Michael Jackson befriended him and paid for a lot of his surgeries. Dave is also attending the burial. Why Dave?
Why? How do we explain this picture then?
He became.
Is this not Michael Jackson with Dave?
It could be a Dave, but maybe he became Dave.
What in the hell?
Got to hear him talk.
Have you walked us into? Okay.
Talk.
Well, to liberate myself from the confines of my father's criminality.
He caused the fire?
Yeah. He is a criminal, and he caused all this. To free myself of his name and his legacy, I decided to become my own person through changing my name.
We'll find out how Michael helped you, but Miko, is that a typical story of Michael helping people like this?
Absolutely. When he would hear about stories of people in need or needed help, and when you watch the news
His last name is Brando.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on
I think he's related
here?
to Brando.
What is happening here?
This is serious stuff, dude.
He'd reach out to them, send them a basket, send them a note, get well, or whatever the incident would be, and he'd always reach out to people and help people. Even driving around town, he'd stop and help people.
How did he find out about you, Dave?
He heard about me, and he had contacted me and wanted to meet me.
How old were you at the time?
I was about 7 years old at the time.
And were you?
All right, that's creepy.
It is creepy.
We were talking earlier
It's
with a
creepy.
young woman who said that she was invited possibly to work with Diddy's chef on a yacht. And we were talking about this man having the ability to groom young ladies and get them into the Diddy party. This is very interesting because anybody who knows Michael Jackson knows the rumors surrounding this man's nefarious conduct with children. And This is a 7-year-old boy he reached out to.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting.
Sepster once said he looks like the bad guy in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
This is weird, Shane.
Yeah, I just want people to know about Dave. I'm sorry.
Is super weird.
That this is a whole other rabbit hole. Like we're just scratching the surface here.
I say every night, let's get weird, but this is fucking weird.
Get into Dave. I think Jackson's alive. That whole story is crazy. That doctor,
well,
Jackson
if he was
killed by
Dave,
his doctor.
According to what I'm seeing here, if he was Dave, he officially died September 6, 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Hang on, let me get an actual death date here.
No, that just means Michael Jackson became someone else. He got
July
rid of
15th, 2018.
Oh, wow. We just passed the death date. R.I.P. Dave. So wild. I mean, it's just wild. Maybe it's just a guy with a very weird voice. With a very weird face.
I mean, maybe his vocal cords were damaged in this crazy
Very
ass fire
possible.
his dad started.
The story that he says, though, is horrible. I mean, with the father and everything and, all that. And then to be with Jackson. I don't know the whole Jackson story either. That whole thing is weird. But what we do know, the official story, whether we want to believe it or not, Jackson's doctor killed him. If we want to believe he's dead. And it was with propofol.
Mm-hmm.
And it was horrible. And that guy only did jail. I think he was only away for 2 years. It's pretty wild.
Well, there was the other thing where they used to put Jackson to sleep every night.
Yeah.
And this was the guy that was doing it. So
yep.
It's interesting. It makes me wonder if he was coerced into doing this, possibly by other members of the Jackson family as a means of getting rid of Michael, or if Michael had actually wanted this to happen.
Or
to
record
some degree.
labels. Or record labels. He was very vocal about
A
certain
number
things.
of maybe it was Clinton's.
Yeah, maybe it was Clinton's.
It was Hill Dog.
Okay, this is
He
now
said,
you're
"All right,
talking.
you're
Now
next,
talking."
Jackson.
He was very vocal. So was Prince. Very vocal about a lot of things with contracts.
But also with these situations and these scandals and stuff like this, they know information.
Oh, yeah.
This would be a similar situation to Epstein being silenced if he didn't silence himself, according to current news. Possibly, maybe he was taken out.
Epstein's own brother also believes he was not killed, or that he did not kill himself. I think that's Mark Epstein, and he's done a lot of interviews in the past few weeks and over the past few years. He's got a weird take on it all, but he doesn't he kind of I don't want to say shrugs off the crimes, like the pedophilia, but he's like, he's my brother, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that.
Renee says they killed him, and I would be inclined to believe her if she wasn't a Boston Red Sox fan.
They killed Jackson.
Yeah.
Jackson was very vocal about contracts, and the whole thing with talking about Kanye, he kept talking about Prince and Michael Jackson because he was worried after he was talking about contracts that they're going to come for him, and he did get addicted to nitrous after all that, which was very concerning. He had a horrible nitrous addiction, which I think is terrible.
Where's so there's also this speculation that all of these people are alive and well on some fucking tropical island somewhere.
Another dimension, maybe.
Living it up, you know, or you think it's like the Hitler on Mars situation.
Yeah, I saw.
We got from Sarge.
Sergeant Payton said something about the spaceship coming here. He said they're coming back, and I assumed.
Oh yeah. That's. I saw something about that recently too. Is they're saying that ship is headed towards Earth.
Yeah.
That crazy long hoagie looking.
We talked about
asteroid.
Oumuamua, and now we were talking about this new thing. I can't even remember the name. It's like 3L something, and that it's hostile. They said it was They said it was hostile on Friday after Ghislaine news broke, and then they said it wasn't anything to be worried about. And now Avi Loeb, we'll probably talk about this tomorrow because we're out of time. But like Avi Loeb, I want to say he's Harvard connected. I could be wrong. I got Harvard on the brain, but he is saying it's something that maybe it could be concerning.
A rock is hostile.
Hostile rock, but I think he's saying there's aliens within the rock, and they're mad. They're coming to get us. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what they're claiming, is that this is some kind of ship.
Oh my goodness.
Why it's dragging hard ass, I don't know if it was that big.
Silly Goose said Rabbi Shmuley is closely linked to Jackson at the time. That's true. I do not remember that, but that's crazy. And I wouldn't be surprised. The Epstein Diddy, says Adam Smith. Oh man, you guys are hilarious. Renee said, "Hey, I don't watch baseball anymore." Wow. Well, that flew by. I'm sorry we didn't get to more callers, but we will be back tomorrow. man, you guys are so cracking me up in the chat. But we'll be back tomorrow. We should do a whole episode of reading your guys' chats because they're hilarious. So grateful for you guys. But we're going to wrap it up here, guys. We had a wonderful show, wonderful call-in. Shout out to Brad. But before we say goodbye, let's get Brandon he's taking down names. Look at it. Brandon's the best. Taking down names, making sure with the calls we didn't get to, we will get to you guys tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow at 10. And we might actually have a guest on tomorrow. I got to confirm that. But I'm looking forward to it. We have a few people who I've got in the queue I might have on. And more about that tomorrow. But Brandon, let them know where to find you.
As always, you can catch me on X and Insta at Brando Inverted. Thanks so much for hanging out. We got a lot more to talk about this week, and we will see how this whole Ghislaine Maxwell thing pans out. I'm excited to see if we get any of these names. Again, like, subscribe, follow, share the show with everybody you know, and always remember to stay weird. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys in the chat are amazing. We love you guys. We're so grateful that you show up and you get in the chat, that you call in, you're sharing and liking. It means a lot to us, and we are very grateful. And again, thank you to Brad Binkley. He is not only hilarious, but really good at researching and talking about a bunch of stuff about a very important stories, and the things he's researching are things that I'm not that knowledgeable of. So I appreciate him bringing that all those aspects into this story, very important story. And you guys know you can find me online at Shane Cashman. And we will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Later.